I've been a cop for 15 years, and if there's one thing I've learned, it's that the badge doesn't make you immune to compromise. I've seen good cops look the other way, and I've seen others refuse, only to pay the price. It's not always about money, and it's not always about fear. Sometimes it's about survival. Sometimes it's about knowing that doing the right thing doesn't always mean justice. There are 100 reasons why a cop might turn a blind eye. Maybe they know that ratting out another officer means career suicide. Maybe they understand that going after certain criminals will bring consequences that the department isn't willing to handle. Maybe they've learned the hard way that playing the hero only gets you burned. One of the first times I ignored something I shouldn't have was during my rookie year. I was patrolling with my training officer, an old-school cop named Frank. He was the kind of guy who had been around long enough to know how things really worked. We rolled up on a known gang spot, and I saw one of our local street dealers handing something off to a kid. My instinct was to jump out and stop it, but Frank put a hand on my shoulder. "No need for that," he muttered. I looked at him, confused. "He's selling right in front of us." Frank exhaled, lighting up a cigarette. "Yeah, and that kid is small time. We take him in, he's back out in hours. Meanwhile, his boss just replaces him with another desperate punk. We focus on the real problem. This is nothing." That was my first lesson in selective enforcement. The law doesn't apply to everyone equally, even when we wear the badge. Sometimes, you ignore the petty crimes to keep the peace. But what happens when it's not about keeping the peace, but about keeping yourself safe? It's easy to think that corruption in policing is just about dirty money, bribes, drug deals, or politicians calling in favors. But most of the time, it's about loyalty and pragmatism. I once knew a cop, Alex, who refused to turn a blind eye to anything. He went after bad cops, bad criminals, and bad politicians. The kind of guy who really thought justice was blind. But justice isn't blind. Justice sees exactly who's got the power and who doesn't. Alex started looking into some of our own cops, skimming drug bust money, planting evidence, making sure cases went the right way for the people who needed it too. He made reports, followed protocol, did everything by the book. One night, he responded to a call in a rough part of town. Backup was supposed to be en route. It never showed up. He was jumped by 3 guys and left bleeding in an alley. By the time another unit arrived, it was too late. He survived, but the message was clear. No one said it out loud, but we all knew. His own brothers in blue had hung him out to dry. After that, he transferred out. I heard later he quit the force entirely. The department called it an unfortunate incident, but we knew better. I had my own moment of choice not long after that. A detective I worked with, Ramirez, was known to be dirty. He had ties to a local gang and would conveniently lose evidence when it helped certain people. No one called him out, not officially. But we all knew. One day, I was handed a case that tied back to him. A murder, gang-related, with a suspect that Ramirez had cleared. The evidence was sloppy, and it was clear Ramirez had tampered with it. I had 2 choices: let it slide, like everyone else, or push forward. I pushed. I did the paperwork. I presented the evidence, and I made sure it landed on the right desks. But before anything could happen, I got a call from my lieutenant. "Drop it," he said flatly. I flat out refused. 2 days later, Internal Affairs got a tip that I had taken cash from a crime scene. It was a lie, of course, but suddenly, I was under investigation. I spent months fighting to clear my name. In the end, they didn't fire me, but the damage was done. My career stalled. Promotions stopped coming. Partners started keeping their distance. I had learned my fucking lesson. People want to believe that cops are either good or bad, that it's a simple choice. It's not. The system doesn't reward honesty, it rewards compliance. It rewards knowing which battles to fight and which ones to let go. It rewards loyalty, not to the law, but to the people who hold your fate in their hands. When a cop turns a blind eye, it's not always about corruption. Sometimes it's about knowing that real change isn't going to come from a single arrest, a single report, or a single whistleblower. It's about survival. But when a cop chooses not to look away, they have to be prepared to lose everything: their career, their reputation, and sometimes even their safety. The question isn't why some cops turn a blind eye. The question is, who's willing to pay the price when they